For millennia, life on this planet has been bound by a sacred and unspoken covenant. An agreement written not in words but in the slow, patient language of geology and biology. It is the covenant between the living and the land, between root and rock, between seed and soil. Soil, it is the anchor, the larder, the very foundation of our terrestrial world. It holds the water, cradles the nutrients, and provides the dark, quiet sanctuary from which all green things spring. We have tilled it, sown it, and depended upon it for 10,000 years. It is the stage upon which the grand drama of civilization has unfolded. But what if this ancient bond could be reimagined? What if life could be untethered from the land? What if we could persuade a plant to grow, to flourish, to bear fruit without a single grain of soil? This is not science fiction. This is a revolution happening quietly in warehouses, in deserts, and even beyond our world. It is a form of cultivation known as hydroponics. The name itself, derived from the ancient Greek, whispers its secret. Hydro, meaning water, and ponos, meaning labor. It is, quite literally, water work. A partnership where water, enriched with a precise cocktail of mineral nutrients, does the work that soil has done for eons. The idea in its essence is both profoundly simple and, radically ambitious, to bypass the soil entirely and deliver a perfectly balanced diet directly to the plant's roots. But this modern marvel has ancient echoes. It's really the culmination of a dream that has haunted humanity for centuries. Legends tell of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, a wonder of the ancient world built around 600 BC. A tiered, irrigated marvel, engineered to sustain a mountain of greenery in the heart of the desert. While its existence remains debated by historians, the story speaks to a deep-seated desire to command water to create life where it should not exist. Centuries later, on the other side of the world, the Aztec civilization built its capital, Tenochtitlan, on the waters of Lake Texcoco. To feed their burgeoning city, they engineered ingenious floating gardens. While these were not true hydroponics, they used soil dredged from the lake floor. They were another powerful expression of the same impulse, to cultivate life by mastering water, freeing agriculture from the constraints of solid ground. But it was the dawn of modern science that honestly transformed this persistent dream into a repeatable formula. In 1699, English naturalist John Woodward made a crucial discovery. He found that plants grew better in water that was rich in dissolved matter, an early vital clue that water alone was not enough. Plants, it turned out, were dining on invisible minerals. Over the next 2 centuries, scientists painstakingly identified the essential elements for plant life. By the 1860s, German botanists Julius von Sachs and Wilhelm Knopp had developed the first true solution cultures, precise recipes of mineral salts dissolved in water that could sustain vigorous plant growth completely independent of soil. The laboratory technique was born. But it took the vision of one man to carry it out of the lab and into the light. In the 1920s and 30s, Dr. William Frederick Gericke of the University of California, Berkeley, began to experiment with these solution cultures on a grand scale. He astonished his skeptical colleagues and the public by growing tomato vines 25 feet high in his backyard, their roots dangling in nothing but a mineral solution. It was Gericke who, in 1937, gave this revolutionary method its name, hydroponics. The age of soilless cultivation had truly begun. To understand how hydroponics works, we must look beyond the hardware of pumps and pipes and into the fundamental chemistry of life itself. A plant, like any living organism, is a complex chemical factory, and soil has always been its raw material supplier. Hydroponics simply replaces this supplier with a more direct, efficient, and precisely controlled delivery service. The heart of every hydroponic system is the nutrient solution. It's really a liquid larder, a perfectly balanced meal containing every essential element a plant needs to build itself from leaf to flower. First are the primary macronutrients required in the greatest quantities. Nitrogen, the builder of proteins and the cornerstone of chlorophyll, is what gives a plant its vigorous growth and luscious green color. Phosphorus is the energy broker and architect, vital for stimulating the growth of young roots. It's the trigger for flowering and the development of fruit and seed. And potassium acts as the regulator and protector. It strengthens a plant's stems, manages the movement of sugars, and, critically, bolsters its resistance to drought, disease, and cold. Beyond this NPK trio, a suite of secondary and micronutrients are required in smaller but no less critical amounts. Calcium builds cell walls, providing structural integrity. Magnesium is the central atom of the chlorophyll molecule, without which a plant just can't capture light. And trace elements like iron, manganese, and boron act as essential catalysts for the complex biochemical reactions that power the plant's life. In a hydroponic solution, nothing is left to chance. Every one of these 14 essential mineral elements is provided in its purest, most available form. But providing this perfect meal is only half the challenge. The plant must be able to eat it, and that really is governed by two invisible but all-powerful properties of the water itself. The first is pH, the measure of acidity or alkalinity. For a plant, the pH of the water acts like a chemical key. If the solution is too acidic or too alkaline, typically outside a narrow band between 5.5 and 6.5, the gates on the root cells lock shut. The nutrients may be abundant, but the plant is physically incapable of absorbing them. This is called nutrient lockout, and it can starve a plant in a sea of plenty. The second gatekeeper is electrical conductivity, or EC. It is a measure of the total dissolved salts in the solution, in other words, the concentration of the nutrient meal. By measuring how well the water conducts electricity, a grower can instantly gauge the strength of their nutrient solution. Too low and the plant is underfed. Too high and the roots can be burned by an excess of salts. In traditional farming, soil acts as a vast chemical buffer. Its complex structure of clay and organic matter can absorb and release nutrients slowly, moderating sudden changes in pH or concentration. Hydroponics has no such buffer. This is its greatest strength and its greatest vulnerability. It allows for unparalleled precision, but it means that a small mistake can cascade into a catastrophic failure with breathtaking speed. The grower is no longer just a farmer, they are a water chemist, conducting a delicate daily balancing act. Over the decades, human ingenuity has devised a remarkable array of systems to perform this balancing act. Each is a unique architecture designed to solve the same fundamental problem: how to perfectly deliver water, nutrients, and, just as critically, oxygen to a plant's roots. The wick system, the silent thread, the simplest of all, a passive design with no moving parts. A wick made of an absorbent material draws the nutrient solution up from a reservoir into a growing medium like perlite or coconut coir using simple capillary action. It's an elegant silent dance of physics, ideal for small herbs and educational projects. Deep water culture, DWC, the oxygenated oasis. Here, the plant's roots are suspended directly in a reservoir of nutrient solution. The secret to its success is oxygen. An air pump and air stone constantly bubble the water, saturating it with the oxygen roots need to breathe, preventing them from drowning. This direct access to everything it needs allows for explosive growth, especially for leafy greens like lettuce. Nutrient film technique, NFT, the gentle stream. In this system, plants are placed in channels which are set at a slight angle. A shallow, continuous stream, a mere film of nutrient solution, flows along the bottom of the channel, constantly bathing the tips of the roots. This clever design ensures the roots have access to both the nutrient stream below and abundant oxygen in the air above. It's exceptionally water efficient and perfect for lightweight, fast-growing crops. Ebb and flow, the rhythm of the tides. Also known as flood and drain, this system mimics the rhythm of the tides. A timer controls a pump that periodically floods a grow bed filled with a medium like clay pebbles. The roots are submerged, allowing them to drink and feed. Then the water drains back into the reservoir, pulling fresh oxygen down into the root zone. This cycle of wet and dry makes it highly versatile for a wide variety of plants. Drip systems, the precision dose, the workhorse of commercial hydroponics. A network of tubes delivers a slow, steady drip of nutrient solution directly to the base of each plant. Controlled by a timer, this method allows for precise control over feeding schedules and is infinitely scalable, from a single plant to a greenhouse covering acres. Aeroponics, the nourishing mist. Perhaps the most high-tech of all, aeroponics does away with submersion entirely. Roots are suspended in an enclosed chamber of air and periodically misted with a fine, nutrient-rich fog. This method provides the highest possible level of oxygen to the roots, leading to astonishingly fast growth rates. It's a system that pushes the boundaries of efficiency but demands the greatest technical mastery. These ingenious architectures are more than just clever engineering. They represent a fundamental recalculation of what it takes to grow our food. When placed side by side with traditional soil-based agriculture, the numbers reveal a story of profound transformation, a story of astonishing efficiency, but also of complex trade-offs. Let us consider what it takes to produce one of the world's most common crops, lettuce. The contrast is stark. The most critical resource of all is water. Traditional agriculture is a thirsty enterprise, accounting for over 70% of all freshwater withdrawals globally. Hydroponic systems, by capturing and recirculating every precious drop, can reduce water consumption by a staggering 90 to 98%. Then there is the land itself. By stacking crops vertically and providing optimized conditions, a hydroponic farm can produce vastly more food in the same footprint. Yields are often 3 to 10 times higher than soil-based methods. In some cases, a single acre of a vertical farm can match the output of 40 acres of conventional farmland. With nutrients delivered directly to the roots, plants waste no energy searching for food. This allows them to grow at an accelerated rate, often 30 to 50% faster than their soil-bound counterparts. And in a sealed, controlled environment, the need for chemical pesticides is drastically reduced or even eliminated entirely. The data is compelling. To grow 1 kilogram of lettuce, a conventional farm in a region like Arizona might use 250 liters of water. A hydroponic greenhouse can achieve the same result with just 20 liters. But this efficiency comes at a cost. The same kilogram of hydroponic lettuce can require over 80 times more energy, primarily for lighting and climate control. It is the central paradox of this new agriculture. We are trading vast quantities of land and water for vast quantities of energy. How and where we choose to make that trade defines the new frontiers of farming. In the arid lands of the world, where fresh water is more precious than oil and arable land is almost non-existent, this trade is a strategic imperative. In nations like the UAE and Israel, hydroponics is not a novelty. It is a cornerstone of national food security. Here, in environments hostile to conventional agriculture, controlled environment farms produce millions of pounds of fresh vegetables year-round, drastically reducing the reliance on imported food. By using desalinated seawater and recycling every drop, they create lush, productive oases in the heart of the desert, a testament to how technology can overcome the harshest of natural limits. A different kind of desert exists in the heart of our cities, not of sand, but of concrete. Here, land is the scarcest resource of all, and for millions, fresh, healthy food is a distant commodity. Urban agriculture is reclaiming these spaces, turning abandoned warehouses and rooftops into productive farms. Vertical hydroponic farms can be placed right where the consumers are. This collapses the complex, energy-intensive supply chain. The concept of food miles is reduced to food feet. Produce can be harvested in the morning and be on a restaurant plate or a family's table by the afternoon, offering unparalleled freshness and nutritional value, and bringing food security to the very communities that need it most. But perhaps the most extreme environment where hydroponics is taking root is not on Earth at all. 250 miles above our heads aboard the International Space Station, a series of remarkable experiments are paving the way for humanity's future in deep space. NASA's veggie and advanced plant habitat systems are the ultimate expression of controlled environment agriculture. In the unforgiving vacuum of space, every drop of water must be recycled, every photon of light precisely targeted, and every nutrient perfectly balanced. These tiny, orbiting gardens have successfully grown lettuce, cabbage, mustard greens, and even fruiting tomatoes. For the astronauts on long-duration missions, this fresh produce provides a vital supplement of vitamins and a welcome change from pre-packaged meals. But the benefits are more than just nutritional. Tending to these small patches of green, a living, growing piece of earth far from home, provides profound psychological comfort, reducing the stress and isolation of spaceflight. This is more than just an experiment. It is a critical step in developing the bioregenerative life support systems that will be necessary for our journey to Mars and beyond. With its potential to grow food in deserts, cities, and even in space, it is easy to see hydroponics as a panacea for all our agricultural woes. But the reality on the ground is far more complex. This revolutionary technology faces significant hurdles that must be overcome before it can truly reshape our global food system. The first barrier is financial. The initial investment to establish a commercial-scale hydroponic farm is substantial. The cost of greenhouses, automated control systems, pumps, lighting, and nutrient reservoirs can run from tens of thousands to millions of dollars, placing it out of reach for many small-scale farmers. Then, there is the immense thirst for energy. As we have seen, the very lights that enable year-round growth and the climate control systems that create a perfect environment are the largest operational expense and the technology's greatest environmental challenge. Without access to cheap, renewable energy, many hydroponic farms are simply trading a dependency on land and water for a dependency on the fossil fuel grid. The technology also demands a new kind of farmer, one with the technical expertise of a plant biologist, a water chemist, and a systems engineer. Maintaining the delicate balance of the nutrient solution and troubleshooting complex equipment requires a steep learning curve and constant vigilance. And the systems themselves are vulnerable. Unlike soil, which can buffer against sudden shocks, a hydroponic system is immediate. A power outage can silence the pumps and starve roots of oxygen within hours. A single waterborne pathogen introduced into the recirculating water supply can spread like wildfire, wiping out an entire crop with devastating speed. The price of perfect control is constant risk. Yet even as we grapple with these challenges, a new wave of innovation is emerging, promising to make these systems smarter, more efficient, and more resilient. The digital revolution is meeting the green revolution. The farm of the near future is a data-driven ecosystem. A network of Internet of Things, or IoT, sensors constantly monitors every vital sign: pH, EC, temperature, humidity, feeding a torrent of real-time data to a central artificial intelligence. This AI acts as the farm's brain and central nervous system. Using machine learning, it can predict a plant's needs before they arise, optimize resource use to minimize waste, and run the entire facility with unparalleled efficiency, reducing the need for constant human oversight. Computer vision systems act as the farm's tireless eyes. They can scan thousands of plants, identifying the earliest signs of pest infestation or disease, long before a human could spot them, allowing for targeted, immediate intervention. Autonomous robots, guided by this vision, can then perform delicate tasks, from planting seedlings to harvesting ripe fruit 24 hours a day. From the legendary gardens of Babylon to the orbiting laboratories in the stars, the story of hydroponics is the story of human ingenuity. It is a story of our unending quest to nurture life in the most challenging of places. It is not a replacement for the soil that has sustained us for millennia. Traditional agriculture will and must remain the bedrock of our food supply. But as our world faces the unprecedented pressures of a changing climate and a population set to reach nearly 10 billion people, we will need every tool at our disposal. Hydroponics represents a profound paradigm shift, a move away from working with the unpredictable whims of soil and season, and towards designing and engineering complete, self-contained life support systems for the food that sustains us. It is a difficult, energy-intensive and complex path, but it is one that offers a promise of resilience, of security, and of a future where we can continue to feed our world one precisely delivered drop at a time.